Good afternoon. It's Monday, the 27th of June, 2022. A very warm welcome to today's discussion, coming to you live from the Government Information Center here in Windhoek, Namibia. My name is Eleni Falapo-Samunyela, and I'll be your host for today's discussion. Today, we are discussing an update on refugees and stateless persons in Namibia. And joining me in the studio are two officials from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigrations, and Safety and Security to expound more on the topic. But before we kick off today's discussion, I'd like to accord this opportunity to Honorable Minister Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, Minister of Health and Social Security, to come and my humble apologies, Health and Social Services to give us our daily dose of the COVID-19 health update. Honorable Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, moderator. Good afternoon, esteemed panelists. Good afternoon, fellow Namibians. I'm going to present the COVID-19 report for the 26th of June, 2022. We announced 8 positive cases from 127 results, which we report during the 24-hour cycle, and that 8 positive cases represent 6.3% positivity ratio. There are 5 new cases and 3 reinfection. The sex distribution, 6 females, of which 3 are new, and 2 males. The age range from 18 years to 55. They are as follow. Comas 2, all from Windhoek. Oshana, Erongo, Kunene, recorded 1 each from Oshakati, Wolf's Bay, and Opuo, respectively. Among the confirmed cases, there is 1 learner, 1 teacher, and 1 healthcare worker. Apart from 1, the remaining 7 are all not vaccinated. 22 cases have recovered as follow. Erongo, 10. Karas and Ochodonjupa, 5 each, and Hardap, 2. The number of active cases is now 541. 41 of them are hospitalized, of which 5 are in ICU. 1 of the hospitalized cases have received 1 dose of COVID-19, 6 are fully vaccinated, and none of the ICU admission is vaccinated. They as follow: Oshana 11, Comas 9, Erongo 5, Hangwena 4, Omsati and Kunene 3 each, Oskoto and Karas 2 each, Hardap and Ochodonjupa 1 each. On the positive side, no death was reported during the period under review. By the 25th of June 2022, a total of 474,136 people aged 18 years and above have received 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccine, representing 32.2% of the target population. A total of 150,607 have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, while 265,199 adults have received 2 doses of the other vaccine types. Hence, 415,806 adults have completed their vaccination schedule, translating into 28.2% of the target adult population. 23,996 children aged between 12 to 17 years have received 1 dose of Pfizer vaccine, which represent 8% of the target population. Of this, 12,134 are fully vaccinated. Hence, the cumulative number of people vaccinated with first dose of COVID-19 vaccine for both adult and children is 498,122, of which 427,940 are fully vaccinated, translating into 24% of the total target population. 74,492 people have received COVID-19 vaccine booster. Now, in terms of summary, the cumulative confirmed individual, excluding reinfections, is 166,086. That is since the beginning of the pandemic. A total of 164,480 have recovered, giving us a recovery rate of 97.3%. COVID-19 death stands at 3,713 and COVID-related deaths 348, giving us a total death with the involvement of COVID-19 of 4,061. Total samples tested so far, 1,059,250. The number of people in quarantine is 193. Before I conclude, I would like to conclude with the following message: that we continue to observe fewer new infections and lower positivity ratio over the past weeks. We note, however, that 85% of hospitalization and 100% of intensive care unit admission are of persons who are not vaccinated. These hospitalizations and admission to intensive care unit could have been avoided had these persons were vaccinated. The fact that we are recording fewer cases should not make us lower our guard. Our latest result of genome sequencing show that BA2, BA4, BA5 sublineage of the Omicron variant are the ones circulating in Namibia, with BA4 being the dominant one. These sublineages are highly infective and spread faster from individual to individual. The public is therefore urged to voluntarily observe public health and social measures in order to prevent being infected. Prevention is cheaper, treatment is expensive. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that insightful report. That was Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, Minister of Health and Social Services, giving us our daily dose of the COVID-19 health update. Back here, as earlier alluded to, today we are discussing an update of refugees and stateless persons in Namibia. As we know that due to the bigger number of undocumented people living in Namibia, the Cabinet has instructed the Ministry of Home Affairs to draft relevant legislations to legalize the status of undocumented and stateless persons in the country. On the 2nd of February, on the 2nd of February 2021, the Minister of Information Communications Technology, Dr. Pea Mshelenga, announced the Cabinet decision at the Government Information Center. Today, as earlier alluded to, I'm joined by two gentlemen from Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security. Joining me on my immediate left is Mr. Simon Ilonga, who is a Deputy Director of Osire Resettlement Center in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security. Good afternoon, Mr. Ilonga, and welcome to the Government Information Center.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And joining us, we are also joined by Mr. Vinicius Nauyoma, who is a Deputy Director and at Refugee Program Management in the same Ministry of Home Affairs and Immigration and Safety and Security. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the Government Information Center.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, Mr. Nauyoma, can you briefly explain to us the difference between a stateless person and an undocumented person?
Okay, thank you very much. Stateless and undocumented, these are the two terms that are close to each, and yet many times it confuses people. When we are talking of an undocumented person, you are referring to a person who belongs to a certain country, who have got a citizen, but then that particular person was not documented. Of course, reason can vary. For instance, I can have a child, I am a Namibian, but then I did not register that particular child. Some people might see that because they live far in the remote areas, and now for them to travel now to the nearest town where they can get the registration of that particular child, the process is just cumbersome. It involves costly, it involves many things. Then for them, they just decided to stay without that. Those are the people that we can see. Those are undocumented. But of course, you might see probably the parent or other siblings, they are documented. But when you talk about stateless usually it's referred to people that came in that particular country, people of foreign origins. But then it happened in this way. A vivid example that we can give, which is in Namibia, is we have got people that came probably many times from other countries, neighboring countries. They came here, and when they came in Namibia, they did not even have documentation from that country. But now they've been living so many years in Namibia, they established themselves, they mingled them together to live with Namibians. So now those people, they don't have any documentations. Now, if they have children, they will not be able even to register their children because they don't have documents that can qualify those children to be registered. So those are the people that we can now associate or refer to as stateless. Somebody who cannot prove documentary or officially that, no, I am a Namibian, or I am a Zambian, or I am an Angolan. That is now people that we refer to as statelessness.
All right. Okay. Given the explanation you just gave now, of the two categories, which is commonly found in Namibia, and what are some of the causes that causes these people to be called stateless, or to become stateless persons?
Okay, the common ones among the two that are now more prevalent in our society is the undocumented. As I was earlier saying, you know, there are many people that we have in Namibia that are not yet registered with birth certificates. Of course, you commonly would hear the ministry saying that they are conducting mobile registration for late registration of birth. Yes, if you followed well, you will see that there are a number of children that are attending school, probably up to grade 10 or grade 12, or even at the end, the time of going to tertiary institution, they don't have documentations. But these are Namibian people that were not registered. As I was saying, reason differs. There are some people that still think that a birth certificate is just a document. They don't see the future benefit of having it. But now, when you take an example like the current arrangement that are here when we are having to register these orphanage grants, you will see everybody will want to have a birth certificate in order to be registered because they are seeing what is the benefit. Or if somebody was probably insured, if somebody was working, you insure one of your relative or so, when you are normal because that person is a beneficiary, they will see the need of getting it. But I'm just trying to tell you the practically that we get on the ground. But somebody who does not go to school, who does not see the need of having this birth certificate, for them, they don't see it. There was a time I got the Sun-speaking people, the Bushmen. I offered to take them to the nearest point where the birth registration was taking place. They said that, no, how much are you going to pay us? You see, it's not that they do, but they don't see what is the need of it. So a reason varies from area to area, but the undocumented part is the one that are common. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Ilonga, what is the difference between an asylum seeker, a refugee, and an economic migrant?
Thank you very much. The asylum seeker is, this is the person who came from different countries or habitual places looking international protection in a foreign country. And this person, application for the asylum seeker is not completed, finally completed or decided by the country where that person is seeking an asylum or protection. This person always have reason why they are moving from that country of origin or habitual places where they have been. And while the refugees is a person who they freed from their country of origin, coming to or seeking the international protection, and the application for asylum seeker have been accepted or granted status of by the host country. And I would love to say that in all the refugees initially were asylum seeker, and while the economic migrants, these are the people who are moved from various countries, moving in a certain countries, motivated by the financially or economic opportunities. So those are the different. But I would like to elaborate on the refugees that these people, they are those that are they are running or they are free from their home countries. They are unable, they are unwilling, and they don't want to return back because they are afraid of persecution based on various reasons. Can be by race, religion, social organizations, political, and so on. So actually these people, they're unwilling to go back because they're afraid of persecutions.
Okay. All right. Mr. Nauyoma, back to you. You've earlier alluded to that we have different types of stateless persons living in Namibia. Statistics-wise, what is the number of people or stateless people that are found in Namibia?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, after Cabinet has taken that decision that you earlier made reference to, the ministry was tasked to do some groundwork. What happened is the ministry have traveled to the region just to see, to see whether do we have people that can be associated to statelessness or so. Of course, that was done, and we confirmed that there is a number. So as we are now, the second stage where we are now at stage of collecting data. So we have requested all regions through the regional councils and the governor's office to register people that they can think are potential candidates to statelessness. Now, As I'm speaking now, we have been collecting now 134,000 plus. These are the numbers. The number that has been collected still needs to be validated. You see, what they are working on now is just to see who can be associated as statelessness. And after, when we receive these figures, the particulars of these people will be run against our national population registration system to see whether they really people that were never registered, or probably maybe people that were registered, but in one way or another, they happen, and their documentation happened to be, to be lost. We have received this figure from 12 regions. We have got 2 regions that are still outstanding. That is, to be precise, the Hardap region and the Omaheke regions. We are engaging with them to see as when will we get that. But the figure that we have, it might be a combination of probably undocumented and statelessness. But when now it is verified, validated and checked properly, we will come up with the correct and exactly figure that we think that these are the statistics of statelessness.
All right. Given the explanation you've just expounded on now, where in the country are we most likely to find these stateless people?
Yes, statelessness people, okay, they are in the regions. They are in the regions because the figure that we received, it came from all regions. What it tells you is either it is in the south, the west, east, north, we get it. But this is more commonly, more prevalent to the border regions. You see, I was making reference to that. This is the concept that is associated to people that are of foreign nationals, origins. Yeah, probably you might find somebody said that, no, I came from Zambia. I'm a Zambian, but that particular person, even in Zambia, they don't have any record of him. But while in Namibia, he say, I'm living in Namibia, but he cannot prove that they've got. So in the border region, that is where we commonly get these particular persons.
All right. Mr. Ilonga, Mr. Nauyoma just mentioned that these people come from various countries, but they also don't have documents proving that they belong to such a country. From which countries are most of the asylum seekers that we have here in Namibia from? What countries are they from?
Thank you very much. Basically, so far we have recorded that our asylum seekers and refugees came from 17 different countries, of which 16 are African countries, particularly those within SADC region. But we have an asylum seeker from Bangladesh, that is an Asian continent. So we are getting those people from those countries.
All right. Of the countries that, of the stateless peoples in Namibia, which nationals are most likely found in Namibia? Like you've mentioned earlier, some of them are from Zambia, some of them are from the neighboring countries in the SADC. Most of the refugees here in Namibia are stateless people. Where are they mostly from?
Majority are from the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's an ethiopic country, and followed by the neighboring country Rwanda and Burundi, and then Zambia and Zimbabwe, and then other countries like Chad, Egypt, Uganda, Kenya. They are very few, but majorities are from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Okay. Mr. Ilonga, I stick with you still. Osire is designated as a place of residence for asylum seekers and refugees. However, a number of them are found in other towns. How is that and why?
Well, the principle we are implementing in Namibia is that we are not concentrating on the refugee camp. We are more on a settlement. That's why we are talking about settlement. A settlement is an open area where you keep or you are residing. So these refugees are not kept in the concentrated camp. They are more allowed to move and to mingle with the Namibians. And this is not only that it's a failure of the ministry, but this is it's an illegal provision. Our act make a provision that for these refugees who are asylum seekers who are looking international protection in Namibia can be able to move to also build up themselves for livelihood. They can attend school, they can get look for job, they can look for residence, they can look for better opportunities as long as they are falling within the international definition of asylum seeker and refugees in Namibia. So they are there because the legal provision, being it the national legislation or the convention, the UN convention allows that. So they are there like that because it's allowed for freedom of movement of persons.
All right, fair enough. Now, the Government Information Center is a firm advocate of inclusivity. We are encouraging you, the viewers and listeners at home, to join our conversation and have your views or sentiments heard. We are on Facebook at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology _ Republic of Namibia. We are also on YouTube at MICT Namibia. Alternatively, you can call us in the studio. The call-in number is 061 400 397. The call-in number is 061 400 397. Mr. Nauyoma, when we say Namibia is motivated to confirm the existing commitments by becoming a party to the two key international conventions of statelessness and the 1954 convention relating to the status of the stateless persons in the 1961 convention, the reduction of stateless persons. Mr. Nauyoma, what do you make of that statement and what exactly are we talking to?
Thank you very much. Maybe just before I come to that question, just want to add a little bit on the previous question that you posed to my colleague. Osire is a place for refugees, but yet they are found at non-Osire places. You see, the Refugee Act, the Namibian Refugee Act make a provision for asylum seekers and the refugee to be issued with what we call an exit permit. The number of refugees that you see, whether it is in town or whatever, outside Osire, those are the refugees that left Osire refugee settlement on a permit. The permit varies according to the needs. If one has to come for a doctor consultation or so, you give a permit linked to the period that you think it will be appropriate for that one. Not only that, there are also permits that you give, a longer permit that you give to professional refugees who have got qualification and skills in various areas. There are some that are now lecturing, there are some that are now teaching, there are some that are engineers, and the field goes on. So what you do now, if for instance, if there is a refugee who is lecturing at NAST or at university or IOM, we give them an exit permit, a longer period. Probably we link it to 12 months period, so that this person stays freely. Because although he is employed here, of course he should have an exit permit from this, because that is what is expected from him by the Act. Thank you. So, yeah. Now coming back to the question on the two stateless conventions, the 1954 and the 1961. You see, those are the primary framework that we base our argument when we talk about statelessness in certain countries. So I have to inform that Namibia did not yet ratify that convention. So during the consultation that we consulted in the regions, we consulted them also on that two conventions to see whether there will be some reservation that the region might think that Namibia before signing or ratifying it. So as we stand now, groundworks have been done. I just informed you that we are busy collecting the data. And now the ministry, together with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, it's in the process now to get a consultant to come up with a bill on statelessness. And I must inform you that a consultant has been identified. So this consultant is just doing things, groundwork, so that before the actual the work starts. So Namibia, we highly value this convention. To reduce, we don't, because there is a deadline given, sort of like UN saying by 2024, they want the issue of statelessness being addressed in the global.
All right, sir. Thank you for that. We have a caller on the line, Anytime from Tumep. Good afternoon, Anytime. Welcome to the Government Information Center today.
Good afternoon to you, Madam Moderator.
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, Anytime?
I'm doing good, thank you.
What are your contributions today?
Yes, before I contribute, the greetings to the panel and thank you for the information that they are trying to share with the citizens of this sovereign state. Yeah, this is a very crucial topic, whereby most of the foreigners finding themselves in this beautiful country, Namibia, they found it difficult in acquiring the citizenship. Upon they say either after maybe 5 years. Yet there are some requirements in place that a foreigner lives, for instance, a certain period of time in this country, they are expected to acquire citizenship of this country. But now, as we listen, as I've listened, and that's by my experience from the region, from this region there, there are foreigners that has come to live in our region or in a country, so to say, for quite a number of years. Yet they still found it difficult to acquire citizenship. When they visit the Home Affairs offices, the process or the requirements are so critical to them. What makes it to be so tough or complicated for them to acquire such documents? After a certain period of time being residing in this country and as a requirement? That is my question.
All right, Anytime, before we let you go, I just want to ensure that I have your question correct. In other words, you are saying you'd like to know why it is difficult for refugees to acquire documents here in Namibia. Do I have your question clear?
Yes. Like I indicated, that there is a certain period of time which requires a foreigner to live in Namibia. For instance, it might be 5 years, for instance, and that law was passed a long time back. That if you wanted to live in a country for a certain period of time, like 5 years, then you can apply for citizenship. But still, these foreigners are still finding it challenging to acquire such citizenship. What is complicating the process? And I can even give you an example. When you go to Botswana, you go to South Africa, it's easy for a foreigner to acquire a citizenship there. What is so difficult in Namibia? Because foreigners are suffering. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anytime, we'll throw your question to one of the panelists.
All right, good day.
All right. Gentlemen, one of you can answer to his question. I'm not too sure which one, but you both can collectively do so. Yeah, Mr. Ilonga?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the caller. I would like to attempt to answer the question of the caller. The Citizenship is regulated, in Namibia is regulated by the Citizenship Act. The refugees and asylum seekers are also regulated by its own act. But I would like to say, in line from the asylum seekers and the refugees, refugees is not a permanent solution, status. We are expecting these people to go back to their country of origin, or I can say we have a three durable solution, of which one is a person to voluntarily repatriated back to his home country after the conflict have been confirmed ended, or it can be send or apply or go for the resettlement. This is a third country where a person says that I will not go back to the home country, I will not stay in Namibia, but I will go to a third country of which is open for that specific person and consider that person to be a citizen of that country. Or a person, or this person can also be ROCAR integrated, and this is a process where then the refugees that are consider themselves to be ROCAR integrated after the cessation of their country cross, they will be accorded or given a status of permanent resident permit, whereby they have to live in Namibia within that permit, and after that then they can be qualified for their citizenship by naturalization. So meaning that there are processes to be followed. We cannot really compare Namibia with South Africa and other countries because of we are so different independent state, and each country have its own system of which they are following to acquire the citizenship. So by then, I advise that any person, any foreign national come in Namibia, they came with a specific reasons and then allowed to stay in the country by a specific piece of legislation. Like maybe the person came in on a work permit, maybe it's by marriages, or maybe by asylum seeker, and so forth. All the relevant piece of legislation will facilitate and regularize themselves, those people, with the immigration laws for them to be able to stay in the country on a permit or as a citizen of the country, after all meeting the requirement.
All right. Mr. Ilonga, back to you again. Can you shed more light on the difference between a reception center and a settlement center?
The reception center is a place where the initial process of registration of asylum seekers start. In Namibia, our reception area is based in Zambezi region, in Katima Muriro, where the initial processes is starting where to register, to complete the application form of all those people looking international protection in Namibia. They have to stay there for a few days based on the observation related to health matters, and also based on the administration process of the Ministry of Home Affairs, particularly Department of, Directorate of Refugee Management. While the settlement is a place where, which is in Namibia, is in the Jonjupa region, in Osire, or Matako constituency, we have a settlement where we keep the recognized refugees and asylum seeker, who, at this point, the asylum seeker are those that are continuing with their process of the refugee determination process. You do an in-depth interview to interview these people to understand why they are looking international protection in Namibia, and also confirm whether their claim are meeting the international definition of refugees and asylum seeker based on the convention and the Namibian Refugee Act. So those are the different, but however, in Osida you find asylum seeker and the recognized refugees.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ilonga. We have a social media comment. Richard Kambinda says, if we abide by the 1954 convention and have historical ties with some of these sister countries, how rigorous are our vetting processes? Yes, you may take it, Mr. Nagama.
Yes, thank you. You know, we are as a country working towards now making ourselves ready and prepared to ratify the both, it's not only the 1954, of course, the 1961 also on the reduction of statelessness. Now, I'm not quite sure whether the caller making reference to the vetting processes, is it the security vetting or what? Of course, if it's a security vetting, that is something that is now not within the mandate of the ministry, because there are apparatus that are established to do the vetting of that particular people. But our wish here is we want to make life easier for the people that we are living with them here. Thank you.
All right. Staying with you, Mr. Nauyoma, can you talk to us about the procedures of identifying stateless persons, the challenges in the process of identifying them, and if there is any progress in this regard?
Good. If I may start with your last point. Progress, I can say we have started collecting data on that one. Progress, I've said that a consultant has been identified to come up with a bill on statelessness. Of course, the process of identifying and registering these stateless people, it's the process that will more like the process that we are registering our own people on when we issue them with documentation and what. Of course, we have to know if somebody is claiming to be a statelessness, we want to know, of course, we want to know the particular person and the name, who are the parent, who are the grandparent, from which country did they came from, and why the grandparent did not have documentation. Those are the criteria that we are working to. Because we don't want somebody who just came in Namibia as probably an ordinary migrant who overstayed, and immediately after the visa expired, then he said that I'm a stateless person. There will be a process of saying, if it's at the village, is the head village able to confirm that this person has been in this area for so time? Yeah.
All right.
Schools or churches, all of these.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Ilonga, it has been reported in newspapers that refugees are being arrested for involving in criminal activities such as drug dealings. What is the ministry's stand in this regard?
Thank you very much. The refugees, yes, it has been like that. Sometimes you can read or you can hear from the electronic and printed media reporting that asylum seeker or any certain refugees have been convicted of that or have been arrested. Yes, we cannot deny that. There are those that are involving in various activities like that. And the stand of the ministry is that like Namibian also are regulated or being considered to behave like good people or citizens. We also, the stand or the position of the ministry is that we wish to have refugees that are seeking or staying in Namibia on the basis of the international protection to behave in accordance with the law, to be an abiding law refugees and the asylum seeker. So we are not having an embassy since to once committing such kind of crime to say or to be behind of that they are refugees or asylum seeker, but the law have to take its own course that the law will be deal with those people who should they convicted or should be found being in a position and in possession of those prohibited goods and substances. So our position is clear that the law will take its own course.
All right. Again, Namibian, we are inviting you to join the conversation and come through. Have your sentiments shared. You can also stream us live on Facebook. We are at Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology, Republic of Namibia. We are also live on YouTube at MICT Namibia. Alternatively, you can call us in the studio. The call-in number is 061-400-397. The call-in number in the studio is 061-400-397. Mr. Ilonga, when we say, earlier on we have alluded to that there is, when we register these refugees or asylum seekers, How does one officially register as a refugee, considering that they don't have any document, they just come and they arrive and they are here? What criteria does government look at when they grant a status of asylum seekers? In Namibia, as you've earlier alluded to, that we have one from Bangladesh. Maybe we can focus more on the asylum seeker because we have spoken on refugees. What is the criteria thereof?
Well, as we're indicating that the asylum seeker this is the person who are seeking international protection, and yet the country or the host country is not yet finally decide on the application of asylum seeker. So the process is that any asylum seeker or any person who free of his home country because of those reasons can enter Namibia from gazetted or ungazetted area because the person is afraid and is on the run because of the prosecution. But we are expecting that as soon as this person arrives in the land, in Namibia, should report or indicate him or herself to any authority where he claims that he's looking for international protection. And then from there, then our office will be informed, and then we take a lead to take this person to the reception center to register this person. Of course, as we are indicating, some they may run with document, while others they run without any documents. We will rely on the information they are providing with or without documents. And from there, then when we register these people, that is, we open a file which will be considered through the whole process of refugee determination process until such a time the person status have been granted or rejected. If the person status granted, then become a refugee, and all other documents like an ID, passport, a travel document, and so forth will be provided to this person. But not all the asylum seekers will be given or claimed asylum seeker will be accorded a refugee status, because through the process of refugee determination process, we are filtering information to check whether this person have met the international definition of all the elements that will make the Commission for Refugee to grant this this particular person a refugee status. And also, to add on a little bit to that, there are times when the Commission for Refugees can also reject the application of the asylum seeker, but within 14 days, should be any reason the asylum seeker felt that the Commissioner did not look his or her application very well, can appeal within 14 days to the appeal board to reconsider the decision of the Commissioner. So, and the appeal board can differ with the Commissioner's decision or can confirm with the earlier decision of the Commission.
All right. We are slowly but surely running out of time. Mr. Nauyoma, what is Namibia's stand on SADC resolution on the prevention of stateless and protection of stateless persons in the SADC region? And in a nutshell, you may also add in your final thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much. Namibia is a member of SADC. So a decision or resolution for SADC that is inclusive of Namibia's decision. So the SADC's call to eradicate statelessness is Namibia's call too. So we are working together as member state. It's not only in SADC, it goes beyond that even to the African continent. So now, to round now, I think statelessness is the issue that needs our attention, undivided attention. The officials from the ministry will be traveling to the regions. So when they travel, we need cooperation from the regional stakeholder to assist us. How can we get these people identified and address the issue? So now, in the region that did not yet submit their number of statistics on statelessness, I'm reminding or urging them, please to give that a priority. We know they've got other important works that they can do, but surely, because they are the people that are working directly with the people. So these complaints are coming through their offices. We want them also to submit their statistic so that we can see how can we proceed with this. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Ilonga, I will just pose the same question to you as well, and you may give us your rounding remarks. What is Namibia's stand on SADC's resolution on the prevention of stateless and protection of stateless persons in the SADC region?
As my colleague have alluded earlier, is that the SADC organ is calling on the country or member state to ensure that within the SADC region, there will be a collaborative effort that we are trying to eradicate the statelessness among the 14 countries and is, of course, the global. We are moving forward to ensure that slowly but surely, to ensure that the process is strengthened to cover as much as areas possible so that by the time given or the due date given for us to ensure that the stateless is eradicated, we will be at least, if not 100%, then we are at half of it, to ensure that most of the people have been identified, documented, and recorded for further processing, to ensure that stateless in Namibia is eradicated. Of course, it will be a challenge processes because we know that most of the people, they might flock from different countries to come look for to be documented in Namibia or to be associated with Namibia. But of course, we are going to ensure that strict measures are implemented or are designed to be implemented. And in a conclusion, I would love to say that working with living in the refugees community and asylum seeker, I have learned that it's not an easy, to be a refugee is not an easy life, neither an asylum seeker. These people, they came from different countries where they have experienced challenges. Some have gone through and witnessed a lot of horrors. Therefore, we are calling on the various stakeholders to at least to contribute or to give a meaningful contribution to join the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security to at least ensure that the livelihood of the refugees and asylum seekers in Namibia is dignified by providing the essential services that they require. Therefore, it is our wish that private sectors, government and non-governmental organizations can liaise and team up with the Ministry of Home Affairs to ensure that together we can assist and save the life of the asylum seeker and recognized refugee. I thank you.
All right. Well, as the African proverb says, I am my brother's keeper, or you are because I am, the Ubuntu culture. Today we've come to the end of yet another productive or very fruitful topic of discussion here at the Government Information Center. It's refreshing to know that Namibia is doing its part to take in and the refugees and asylum seekers, to give them a safe haven, and that is very much appreciated. I'm sure for any refugee or asylum seeker that is living in Namibia, they can really attest to that. It is a safe haven for them, even though the right processes and regulations need to take place. Today, you've come to you've come to the end of today's discussion here at the Government Information Center. My name is Ilani Philippus Hamunyala, and it's been a pleasure being in your company. Good afternoon.